In today's episode of Truck Talk, as I sit here in my truck during lunch break at work, I'm thinking out loud about my ideas of the collective direction of people. There's a lot of talk in the metaphysical and spiritual new age community, whatever you want to call it, about the new earth aspect, or we're going from fourth density, or 4D to 5D, and we're in the third dimension or something, whatever, I don't know. Anyway, it's 4D, 5D, whatever. And the new earth. Rudolf Steiner wrote in the early 1900s that there would be a splitting of the people in the future, and that there would be, the eighth sphere would take away those that are very materialistically minded or negatively minded, fearfully minded, etc., etc. And to me, you can see that in the Bible. It talks about separating the sheep from the goats, or the wheat from the weeds, the tares. And we do kind of see that in society. You can see it. And they said that, people like Dolores Cannon, the late Dolores Cannon, she, was a clairvoyant and whatever. And she talked about the splitting that would come, and that there would be a period, and she's not the only one who talked about it, said we would see it. You would see that there's like a simultaneous, more negative world going on as you see the world and the collective people out here, things going in a better direction. It's about where your focus is, right? Because everything in metaphysics, metaphysically speaking, it's all about where your consciousness is, what you are focused on, what you accept to be true, and you can accept bad things or good things. And a few years ago, in my older channel, in my videos, I used to repeat the phrase, be what you want to see. And so in this video, be what you want to see means not only in your own personal life, you want things to manifest, in your mind, be there before, you have to be there first. For a chair to be created, you first have to be there in your mind before you create the chair, if you're a carpenter or a furniture maker or something. So you have to be there first. Anything you've done in life, you were there first. Before you went to the refrigerator to get milk, you were there first. It could have been a fleeting thought, but my point being is that you were there. Your consciousness, your conscious awareness was already there before you physically were there. So, and a lot of times things happen in people's lives and they go, how did this happen? It was good stuff or bad stuff. Well, you were there consciously. You were in that awareness of that reality, whether you realized it or not. You can have lots of money and then enter into poverty. It's somewhere along the line you were aware of poverty, you yourself being poor or struggling financially. And that's just how it is. When you understand metaphysics, that's just how you see it. You can prove this to yourself, right? Now, it's not like some magic trick or, instant, manifestation. Well, manifestation don't work. Yes, it's always working. It's whatever you're aware of, whatever you believe is true for yourself. So, of course, when you want to manifest things in your personal life, health, wealth, happiness, whatever, romance, happy marriage, whatever it is, a new puppy, a free cup of coffee, a house, whatever, you have to first accept that desire as being real. Be in the awareness of it being real before it ever physically happens, or you have any way of knowing that it's going to happen. Or how any of that, you can't force it. And that's when you begin to find out life is actually very, very mental, very metaphysical, very miraculous. It's awesome. But you have to pay attention. You'll see these things, that whatever you're aware of becomes your reality. Even if you choose to be aware of health, even though you're sickly right now, you will have health. You will. It's happened. Same thing with if you're financially struggling, you're aware of financially being well off, or whatever. It's going to happen, and there will be a bridge of incidents, as Neville Goddard would call them. There will just be things that happen in your life. Those things will happen. Well, this video isn't about personally manifesting things. It's more of the collective. Where people are, we're all, those of us that are generally thinking of positive things and thinking of positive future and seeing things as good and not bad and miserable, and the mark of the beast is coming, or tyranny's coming, or World War III and we're going to all blown up, or whatever negative, fearful crap that people want to believe in. Let them go believe that. Let them struggle with each other and hate each other and all these type of things, or think that life is all about just what's physical, and you got to struggle in this world, and you got to fight people for all the limited resources, when in fact, metaphysically speaking, there is no lack of anything. No lack of food, no lack of money, no lack of anything, no lack of health, wealth, fresh air, nothing, when you begin to focus and be aware that there is an abundance of those things that you would like to see for yourself and for others. So, and everything's a fractal, a repeat, or a microcosm or a macrocosm of everything. So there's the individual manifesting, be what you want to see in your mind, be there, be the wealthy person before you're wealthy, be the healthy person in your mind, be aware of that. Well, it's the same thing that's a microcosm individual. Well, then that's the same with the collective or the macrocosm. There's a lot of us from different walks of life, different people from all over the world. I've noticed on the internet that we're all thinking, seeing positive things, and less control of our lives, less privacy being taken away, more privacy, more individual freedom and liberty, true individual liberty and freedom. And listen, liberty and freedom is about the freedom to think and the freedom to speak. It's not just so about, freedom to be yourself, express yourself. Like me, I like to wear gaudy jewelry and have, tattoos and long beard and long hair. And I always like to wear black and things like that. It's not, it's more about being the true who you really are inside, and having the freedom to think. And so a lot of us we see that there's a freer and a happier and a healthier world. We know that that's absolutely a reality, and a possible reality if we choose it to be. And I see that when I got into metaphysics, really started looking into it in 2016, it took me a few years to really get it down to really understanding it and letting go to some old beliefs of mine. But anywho, even back then I began to see that I didn't have to look at the world as a horrible place and a struggle and a fight and a war and all this, that, and the other. And I remember at one point I told my wife, I said, no longer am I going to fight with my fellow man. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to feel like I've got to be in some cause and struggle and moral war with people or revolution or anything like that. I used to be very militantly minded like that. I used to think that, there's people have to struggle and we're going to have to fight against things, and, you're going to have guns and you're going to have to be ready and all this, that, and the other. And there was a military doctrine that I had learned when I was among people like that, and I thought like that. They're called leaderless resistance. Well, the leaderless resistance is more like an autonomy. Like you had local groups that would be, they would have leaders, but no one was a ruler or anything like that. And the people were leaders only in the area that they're capable of, right? Just like if a community got together and there was somebody that really understood how to build a barn or was really good at that type of thing, and he's better than the rest of us, while the rest of us show up with our hammers and saws and, our strong backs and ready to work, we'll trust the guy that knows more about it. We'll let him lead us in how to build it and raise that barn and get it, get it built. Or somebody knows how to build a bridge better than you, work on a car better than you. You let them lead you, right? But they don't lead you in the rest of your life. They just lead you in that project. Well, that's the way it is and it should be. Is I don't believe in rulers at all. That's why I'm an anarchist. I've been an anarchist all my adult life, and anarchy, it comes from the Greek term, which means anarchos, no rulers. It doesn't mean no rules. It just means no rulers, no one ruling over you, okay? And just leaders. Like, to me, supervisors and bosses here, like even here at work, I've told my supervisor, I said, I just see you as someone who, you supervise what's going on, and you're kind of like the conductor of an orchestra, but it doesn't mean that you necessarily can play all the instruments as good as the musicians can or anything like that. You just have like a captain of a ship. He's got the old ships, or even the modern ships. You have the hands on deck that are specialists at what they do, and you have the captain who just kind of orchestrates everything. He's the conductor. He's good at doing that. He has a good overview of everything. Doesn't mean he's an expert in everything. So as far as the people and what I see things breaking down just like a lot of other people. I'm not the first one to say this. A lot of anarchists talk about this. Anarchy is also known as voluntarism, because you voluntarily get around the people you want to be around, your own tribe, your own vibe tribe, your own family. And family doesn't have to be blood. If you only want to be around people of your own race or people of your own belief systems or whatever it is, or you want to be around whoever, it doesn't matter. Well, it's just that it's voluntary. No one forces you to interact with other people. and on a daily basis. And we work together in this little small groups of clans, families, tribes. And in anarchism, we're well aware of the sociology fact that you can only know about 150 people at most in your life at any one time. About 150, knowing them somewhat meaningfully in some way. So it's best for little tribes or little clans of, a dozen people, half a dozen people, 3 people, 30 people, 90 people, whatever, 130 people, or little communities and things like that. It doesn't mean cults. It doesn't mean hippie communes or anything like that, which if that's what you want, again, I believe in your freedom to have those things. But as long as you're not making anyone join you or making people stay with you. But where we have these little clans and tribes, and we're not even competition with each other, and we just work together, and that is the way of the future, the good way of the future, the good road, and the fork in the road that mankind is in now, the collective is in now. There is that splitting that's going on, and as far as technology goes, technology like this cell phone here, or even technology like this pickup truck here, that's just machine and computer and combustion engine and all that good stuff, and I operate a heavy machinery, I operate a loader and all that. It's in a crusher for that matter. I operate that here at work. Okay, these machines and stuff like that, these mechanized machines and electronic machines, these cell phones and computers and things like that, they're all wonderful tools. Okay, like a hammer or a wrench or anything like that. They're all wonderful tools and interesting gadgets for that matter. But they shouldn't be the center of man's life. Center of our lives should be, remember that we are spirits enjoying a physical 3D human experience, and our human bodies will pass away at some point, and we will continue to live on as consciousness. The spirit is basically consciousness, your conscious awareness, which is eternal. That's what we that believe in manifesting and metaphysics and things like that believe. Straight across the board, we all pretty much agree to that. We also agree that there is no actual duality or separation, that we're all one, but we're all just different fingers on the same hand, living different experiences and having experiencer nodes, I call it, of the one mind. And the universe is nothing but one universal mind. That's all it is. And that it has this 3D physical existence here for experience. Are there other planets or other? Oh, sure. I'm sure there's all kinds of different little 3D experiences going on all over. But within the mind of the universe, which the universe, again, is nothing but a giant mind. That's what God is. We're all basically thoughts inside the mind of God. That's what we are. We're different thought forms. And we're the sons of the Father, sons of God, sons and daughters of God, if you will. So as far as that goes, I believe that it comes down to meaningful relationships and things like that, or people, 150 or less people you can know at any one time, which is a sociological fact. Now, I'm not a left-handist. I'm into the occult or esotericism, mysticism, metaphysics, things like that. But I'm not a Satanist or left-hand pathist or anything like that. But years ago, even when I was a Christian, I did read the Satanic Bible because I wanted to see what the enemy said, And I read Anton LaVey's book, and he said a couple things in there that were quite interesting to me and always stuck with me. And one of them is he says, you can't love, he says, let's talk about this love everyone willy-nilly. He says it has no meaning to it. You can't just say you love everyone in the world. How can you do that? You don't know those people. Their love, that's meaningless. It doesn't mean anything. You don't know everybody in the world. It doesn't mean that you have to know them to love them. What he's pointing at is there's no actual conscious awareness of it. And I see what he's saying, and I've always thought that was actually quite smart, is you can't just say, well, I just love everybody, because everybody doesn't mean anything, okay? It comes down to individuals, and that's when it's meaningful. So it's just a little something to think about, but I had to agree with that. And the point being is, you can, quote, have potential love for every human being you meet, sure, but even the bad people, whatever, because they're all God living experiences too. That's just that they've chosen to be negative. Okay, but that's fine. That I'm going to love everyone that I meet, personally meet. Okay, that's cool, great, but it's still not meaningful. It's like if you're in a relationship like me, I'm married, and it would be meaningless if I just threw my love out, just have affection and treated everyone the same way I treat my wife. well, then it will have no meaning, right? And I believe that you want to have meaning, right? Like, you have your friends and your family that you're really, really close to, your spouse, whatever, that you're really close to. And then you have other people that are kind of like what we call the outer circle and things like that. Because even, let's say you have the 150 people in your life that you personally interact with, and you know something about them, and you have some meaningful relationship with them, there's still going to be the inner circle and the outer circle, okay? So, and then the greater circle, which is just everyone else. And so to me, it's best to find your vibe tribe and work together one another, and build your own. You can build communities, your own farms, your own households, however you want to do it. But just just a network of people you talk to that you're really close to, and you pull from one another and you support one another. And you can materially, financially help one another, but you can just emotionally support one another, and you be there for one another. And there's no actual ruler of the group. You may have the patriarchs, the older people, the wiser people, and that's another thing. In the new earth, the new and improved earth, people like me, we see it as there is a return to some of the old ways, let's call it that. Is not everything that our ancestors did for thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years is wrong, including how they ate. They had a meat-based diet. During the Ice Age and stuff, we know for a fact they did. So not everything we did was wrong or bad. The traditional marriage type thing, the family thing where they got together, they had children, and then they raised those children together, and all that. Those things, those institutions are not wrong. When we screw them up, we fuck them up. But and I'm not saying other ways of living are, but the majority of us, there's exceptions to the rule, proves the rule that as the majority of us, it's going to be the man, the woman, they're going to have children, and they're going to raise children. They're going to raise the children, and there is a commitment there and working together. Now, I know there's people like all kinds of other, quote, alternative lifestyles. Well, they're called alternative for a reason. It's not that those are wrong, because all possibilities have to be able to exist. Just like there has to be really good people, innocent people, and really, really bad people. There has to be heat and cold. There has to be up and down. There has to be dark and light. There has to be the seasons of the sun, the winter, the spring. We have to have these ebbs and flows and all degrees and things like that, of all things, of degrees of temperature, degrees of light or darkness. We have to have all of that. But the majority of it we want is to be loved. There's going to always be some hate in this 3D reality. There's always going to be this, that, and the other, what we call negative or unwanted experience and things. But that's what causes us to discover what we do want. And so that's the beauty of this reality is, just like learning how to lift 400 or 500 pounds, deadlift 400 or 500 pounds. You don't just walk up and just do that. You work your way up to that. And then when you get to 400, 500, you work your way up. If you do more, you do, right? Or whatever, deadlift, bench press, whatever. The point being, or run faster, or whatever it is. You always, I don't care, you build, race cars. Each race car you want to build a little faster, or a better birdhouse each time. You constantly want to get better and better. But you don't want all the perfection to be all at once. Just like you don't want to manifest everything you want in life all at once. It'd be like eating all your food all at once, right? That you have in this life. You want things to be stretched out. So you want to have some fun, and you want to have some contrast. You want to have a little bit of something pulling against you. But I've always said that, this world has some fucked up shit that's fucked up, but it don't have to be fucked up. And I've always said, it doesn't have to be this hard. I don't expect everything to be super duper easy. I'm talking about it can be a lot less. Be a lot less. And with technology, and the power of it, and control of it is decentralized. And just like people, we need to be decentralized. We decentralize everything. That's the idea of leaderless resistance, is it's decentralized. You can't just, if one group is smashed or crushed, it doesn't crush the rest of it. And leaderless resistance, right? Well, it's the same thing when you have autonomous little groups of people, clans and families and tribes of people. They're just they're close knit and things like that, but they work together. They work more in. That's the thing about family and extended family, and your friends are part of your family. is you work to help one another. You enjoy helping each other and encouraging each other, and you do things together and you experience things together, and you have meals together, have festivals and feasts, and it can be old pagan feasts or religious feasts, doesn't matter, or just family traditions y'all make up, but things that you do that build you together. And human beings are social creatures. And because we're all ultimately down at our core, our spirit, we're all just one spirit. We're the one mind, taking and acting in different ways. So as far as I'm concerned, I see nothing but good coming. But people have to make that decision. It's like same thing with technology. Where do we want this AI technology and all this, that, and the other? Where do we want the world to go? We want more government? Do we want more encroachment into our privacy and our freedom and our rights by government, by corporations, by banking industries, by AI and computer industries and big tech? No. The food industry, the medical industry, do we want all that stuff? No. There's ways to do things that are a lot more sane, that are for our mental health, our physical health of our physical bodies and our physical brains, and are healthier for the earth, and where everyone can still be their individual selves. So we learn from the mistakes of the past where certain things were oppressed or kept back. But at the same time, we don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Some of the traditional ways of doing things, and including respecting our elders. Now, I'm not just saying just because somebody has gray hair that, they automatically are old and wrinkled, that they're wise. That's not true. Just like people with PhDs and doctorates and certificates and diplomas and things, or black belts and things, doesn't mean that they're experts, okay? That doesn't mean that they really know what they're fucking talking about or anything in the areas that they're supposed to be experts in, right? So, in the end, but when someone has proven themselves to have some knowledge and experience, by God, listen to them. They might have something to add to you, something to help you with. All this experience that we gain in this life, what good is it if we can't share it with people who don't have experience or younger folks or things like that? Listen to things we say. Hey, chew up the meat, spit out the bones, take the good, from it, because I always learn from people that are older than me or more experienced than me, maybe my same age, but they had more experience in an area than me or more knowledge in the area than me. I enjoy learning from that, and I enjoy sharing what I know and with people that I've experienced. I know, so we pull upon one another, but we still should look like we talk about the primitive tribes all around the world that are still existent, how they're so wholesome. Well, they're family oriented, they're tribe oriented, they're clan oriented. They respect the elders. I don't care if it's in South America and the African continent, these more so-called primitive tribes. Look how they respect their elders. Look how they women are respected, children are respected. Oh my God, it's the patriarchy. Well, the patriarchy is what protects. We need the patriarchy and the matriarchy, and they protect one another. Men and women need to stop fighting one another. Races need to stop fighting each other. They need to stop letting the system divide us with the politics. Vegetarians need to stop fighting with the meat eaters. The meat-based eaters need to stop fighting with the plant-based eaters. We need to get along. Now, I personally am gone back to low-carb and meat-based diet and all this. My wife and I both have, and we're feeling great, and we're losing weight, and it's amazing. But, I understand there's some plant-based eaters, they swear by it. That's fine. We can discuss it, but in the end, we don't need to be hateful to each other about it. People that want to own guns and those that don't want to own guns respect each other. That we need to stop letting the system to keep us divided. See, we're acting like a bunch of prisoners, and we're our little prison gangs, and we allow the guards to keep us and the warden to keep us fighting each other, so we don't turn around and realize we actually outnumber this fucking guards and this fucking warden. We can run this prison, and we can break the walls down. This is not a prison. America. The world is not a prison planet. That's a bunch of bullshit, too. I don't care what spiritual teachers are telling you that crap. The only prison is the prison of your mind. You have to free yourself. True freedom is the freedom of your mind and freedom what you have to say and think. Because it comes from what you focus on, what you're aware of, what you choose to be aware of. You can be aware of the illness or the wealth or the health, or aware of the poverty and the financial struggle, or that you're financially and in all other ways you're abundant. You focus on that. So we can focus on the two forks, the fork in the road that's going on right now. You can be a sheep or a goat. You can be a wheat or a weed. You can focus on going to heaven or hell right now. You can focus on what kind of life that you want to see for mankind and be what you want to see. Be that person to the best of your ability. And as we slowly leave behind the old system ways that aren't serving us, like the whole, 9 to 5, stuck in a rut. You got to have credit to do anything in life. You're a prisoner to the financial system. You're a wage slave, tax slave. All those systems must fall. And the only way they can fall is, first off, we have to be there in our mind first and feel that and walk in that feeling and just know. And ideas will come. There's lots of smart people out there. Maybe you're one of them that has a great, brilliant idea how to do things. And we can do things without the old systems. But the old traditions, some of the useful traditions from ancient times on, family, mother, father, the respect for the elders, unless they prove themselves to be disrespectful, and things like that. These are things that we should cherish. We should look to the living primitive tribes of today in the Amazon and South America and Africa and look to them and see how they still respect their elders and they still have that family base and that love and respect for one another. We can do that and have technology and live in a modern world. We don't have to live, primitive like they do in the jungles or the deserts or whatever, but we can have our technology and eat it too. We can have our cake and eat it too. We can have our technology and our cars and things like that, but at the same time, we can slow some things down and start looking at what's most important. We focus on that and allow and feed that with our mind, and the actions will come. We'll know what to do. Each one of us will have, we just choose that for ourselves, even if we don't have any idea what we can do to help that. What can I do? Doesn't matter. Just focus on that and watch what happens. So being what you want to see is not just only about being in your mind mentally, what you want to manifest. The person that you want, having the person that has what you're wanting to manifest. You're the person that has that new car or has that good health or that loving relationship or whatever it is that you want, a new house or new puppy that you want. But you have to be what you want to see out here in the macrocosm, in the bigger spectrum of things, the collective, not just the individual, in the microcosm. And you be there and see a better world. And you're going to find out there's other people that think the same way you do. And we can begin to work together. And we don't have to serve this silly system, industrialized system that has enslaved us all with wage slavery, tax slavery. We're all just browbeat into giving away all of our private information on these electronic devices and everything we do. And we begin to see that there's a much more wholesome and freer way that human beings can live. Into this video.